Hey everyone, ready for some serious social superpowers?
Yeah.
Today we're doing a deep dive on practical psychology.
Okay.
You know those fascinating little tricks
Yeah,
and
yeah.
insights that can totally upgrade how you interact with people every day.
Like little hacks.
Yeah, exactly. Like hacks, but for real life.
It's like
Like
having a cheat sheet,
yeah,
right?
a cheat sheet for the human experience.
Exactly. Exactly.
And we're going deep on all sorts of cool stuff today.
Okay.
Like how to remember names, like you've got some kind of superpower.
Oh, I like that.
And then how to actually decipher what people are really saying with their body language. We've even got some insider info on how your own brain can totally sabotage you in social situations.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
The worst, right?
It's about seeing those patterns,
Yeah.
Like understanding the why behind everything.
Okay, so let's just jump right in.
Okay.
One of the things I found so fascinating,
Yeah.
you know when you're talking to someone
Mm-hmm.
and their name just completely flies out of your brain?
Oh, all the time.
It's the worst.
Okay.
But there's this trick, right?
What's that?
Okay, so you introduce the person whose name you totally blanked on to someone else,
Okay.
and then usually they'll just reintroduce themselves, and you're totally off the hook.
It's true. It's like you're using,
Social dynamics,
yes, you're using social dynamics to your advantage.
like a social save.
Exactly.
This next one really surprised me, though.
Okay.
So apparently chewing gum can actually help you feel less anxious.
Really?
Have you heard of this?
I mean, I've heard of chewing gum to focus or whatever,
Yeah.
but not for anxiety specifically.
So it's connected to how our brains have evolved.
I see.
Like the act of eating has always been associated with safety. When we're eating, we're not in danger.
Makes sense.
Right. So chewing gum kind of tricks your brain into that same sense of security,
Interesting.
even if you're totally stressed out.
Like a little mini vacation for your nervous system.
Exactly.
Love it.
Okay, so we're talking about subtle cues, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's this thing called the gaze trick that I thought was so interesting.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed how uncomfortable it is when someone's staring right at you?
The worst. The worst.
But sometimes you want to observe someone without being super obvious about it.
Right. Right.
If you're trying to read their body language.
Okay.
So with this trick, instead of looking directly at them,
Yeah.
you look just past them.
Clever.
And then they sense your gaze, right?
Yeah.
They try to make eye contact,
Mm-hmm.
but then they can't.
Interesting.
So they end up looking away.
Ah, I
And
see.
you can watch them without freaking them out.
I like it.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit here.
Okay.
Confidence.
Right. Big one.
It's so key to how people perceive us.
It's everything.
And a lot of that comes down to body language.
Totally. Like how you carry yourself,
Yeah. Standing tall, shoulders back, head held high,
Exactly. It makes you look more confident.
and feel more confident.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
like you're sending this signal I got this.
Exactly. I'm in control here.
Okay, so I was actually reading something about this the other day. It's
Huh.
totally separate from our deep dive stuff.
Okay.
It was saying that even if you don't feel confident, if you physically adjust your posture to a more confident stance,
Yeah. Yeah.
your brain kind of catches up.
Interesting.
It's like your mind and body are constantly in this feedback loop, right?
Wow.
So if you stand you're totally killing it.
It can actually trigger a shift in your mindset.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Wonderful stuff.
It's not even just how we carry ourselves.
Right.
The way we speak also plays a huge role, right?
Absolutely. The words we choose, our tone of voice.
Yes. Yeah.
It all contributes to how confident we appear.
One of the sources talked about eliminating hesitant language,
Oh, interesting.
getting rid of phrases like I think or I believe.
So it's not about being arrogant or anything.
No, not at all. More owning your expertise.
Right, exactly. It's about projecting that you're sure of what you're saying.
Yeah, and it makes you sound so much more confident.
Even when you're talking about something really complex.
Totally.
Even if you're not an expert,
Right.
just owning what you do know
Yes.
makes a difference.
This is making me think about all the ways we're unintentionally sending messages to each other.
Yeah, 100%.
We've been talking about projecting confidence, but what about on the flip side?
Okay, yeah.
How do we decode other people's behavior?
Right.
And this research actually had some really cool stuff on this.
Yeah, what?
Okay, so apparently
Okay.
you can often tell who people feel closest to in a group just by
Oh, tell me.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Who they look at when they laugh.
Really? I've never heard that.
Isn't that wild?
That's so interesting.
It's called the group laughter phenomenon. And it's like this super subtle but powerful like signal
wow.
of those social bonds, you know?
It's so cool.
Like when we laugh, we instinctively glance at the people we feel like most comfortable with,
Makes sense.
most connected to.
It's like a secret language or something.
Yes, totally.
I love that.
Okay, so then while we're on the subject of like subtle cues,
Yeah.
one of the sources had this whole thing about
Yeah.
how people treat those who can do absolutely nothing for them.
Oh, interesting.
Because it tells you a lot about someone's character.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like, it's easy to be nice to someone when you want something from them.
totally.
But it's how you treat people when you have, like, zero ulterior motives
Right.
that says everything.
Yeah, it shows you their true colors, you know?
Exactly. Okay, so we've talked about, like, projecting confidence
Mm-hmm.
and reading other people.
Mm-hmm.
But what about those times when conversations get a little, you know,
A little tricky.
it's a little tricky, yeah. Like, how do you navigate those moments when things could, like, easily go sideways?
Right, like how do you disagree without being disagreeable?
Exactly.
It's an art form, for sure.
And thankfully, our sources had some good stuff for this, too.
Oh, good.
Like, they had this whole thing about handling those awkward moments when someone's, like, making jokes at your expense.
Ooh, yeah.
Worst, right?
Yeah, I've been there.
So, get this. Their suggestion is
so
to act like you can't hear them
Really?
and then make them repeat it,
Oh, interesting.
like, multiple times.
I kind of love that.
Because think about it.
Oh.
Humor relies on, like,
Timing.
timing, novelty.
Yes.
When you make someone repeat a joke,
Right.
it just, like, loses its power.
It's so true.
It's like they're stuck in this loop.
It's like watching a scary movie over and over again.
Yes.
The first time you're terrified, but then...
Each time it's less and less scary.
Exactly. The fear factor disappears.
So it's kind of the same with, like, awkwardness or
Oh, totally.
even humor.
Yeah.
Sometimes just repeating something can, like, totally disarm it.
Yeah, it's like it loses its power somehow.
Exactly.
I like that. That's good.
Okay, any other, like, ninja moves for navigating those?
For like difficult conversations.
Yes.
Okay, well, one of the sources was really big on framing your language carefully,
Oh, yeah.
especially when you need to like correct someone.
Ooh, that is a tough one.
It is.
Because no one likes to be corrected.
Right.
And it can go downhill so fast.
It can turn into a whole thing, you know?
Yes.
So the trick is instead of like directly blaming someone, which like instantly puts them on the defensive,
Right.
you try to phrase it in a more like objective way.
Okay, can you give me, like, for instance?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's say like someone left a window open.
The worst.
Instead of saying you left the window open.
Which is, like, automatically accusatory.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're pointing a finger. You could say something like, oh, the window was left open.
Okay, but that's still, like, communicating the same.
It is, but it's so much softer, you know?
It does sound nicer.
It takes the blame away.
Yeah.
It just sort of like, it addresses the situation.
It's less about, like, who did what.
Right, exactly.
And more about, like, fixing the problem.
You've got it.
I like that.
It's a subtle shift,
It is.
but it can make all the difference.
It feels less, like, confrontational. Right.
Yes, totally.
And more, like, collaborative.
Exactly. You're on the same team trying to figure things out together.
Which is a good place to be.
It is.
Especially when you're, like, already in a potentially...
Tricky situation.
Yes.
Right?
Like, sometimes you've just got to take a breath and...
Choose your words carefully.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, we're all just, like...
Trying to figure it out.
Yes. Trying to navigate this crazy thing called life.
And all the messy, complicated relationships that come with it.
Exactly. And a little empathy can go such a long way.
The world needs more of that, you know?
100%. It really does.
For sure.
Okay, so, wow. We have covered so much ground in this deep dive.
I know, right? It's a lot.
It's a lot. We talked about, like, practical psych tricks, how to project confidence, how to actually, like, understand what's going on with other people.
Yeah, it's
Like a crash course in, like, being a person, basically.
be a better person.
Hey.
Maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, like a better, more socially savvy person.
There you go.
I'm into it.
And the best part, though, right, is that this is like a lifelong thing.
Totally.
You know, you can keep learning, keep practicing.
Oh, for sure.
And the more you do, like, the more it just becomes second nature. It's not something you have to, like, think about so much.
You just, like, become that person who, like, just gets it.
Exactly. That's the goal.
Okay, I want to circle back to something
Okay.
because I feel like this one point is so important.
Okay. Yeah.
The power of names.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So huge.
It seems so simple, but it's like
It's everything.
when someone remembers my name,
Yeah.
it makes me feel so much more like seen,
Yes.
like respected,
100%.
like they're actually like paying attention.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you matter, right?
Totally. Like I'm at.
Which you do.
Thanks.
But, it's amazing how, like, that one little thing can have such a big impact.
And I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier about like empathy, right? Like making that effort to remember someone's name.
Yeah.
It shows that you like actually care.
You're seeing them. You're valuing them as an individual.
Yes. Okay, so this deep dive has been amazing.
I've had so much fun.
Me too. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I learned so much. Like
Me too.
my brain is like full of all these,
New tool.
yes, like social tools and tricks.
I love it.
So to everyone listening, I hope this deep dive has given you a lot to like think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess we'll catch you next time for more explorations into like
The mysteries of the human mind.
the human mind
And beyond.
and beyond.
Until then.
See you later.